Good afternoon, guys. How do we stay on our path to developing our minds and being our best selves? How do we do it? Especially when it gets tough, especially when outside conditions start to affect us, especially when negative things happen and it seems like things are never going to change. What I found is you remember your why. Why are you working on yourself? Why are you trying to develop the best part of you through the power of your mind? Your why has to be strong enough. And let's remember that every time we're seeking a change outside of us because we don't like it, the moment we begin to work on that change within us, including the thought that caused that drive to change the outside conditions, the moment we start to work within, we start to affect the outside. So you have to understand that your why has to be the strongest thing that drives you and keeps you determined. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
We felt a little bad, certainly I did, about leaving the university when I thought very interesting work on artificial intelligence was really on the verge of taking place and symbolically proving programs were correct. Ironically now, it's taken a long time. The rate of progress, which is hard to make numeric, in both those areas has been quite modest. I mean, we haven't gone backwards or anything, but AI has turned out to be a tougher problem, which is fascinating. And now there are some interesting advances, and likewise symbolic type things, there are some now advances. So we thought we'd miss being more at the center of those. Now through at least funding Microsoft research, we get to have some level of involvement in that. One of Paul's ideas was to build a 360 emulator. That was the dominant mainframe at the time, used bit slice architecture to just blow away the pricing on mainframe computing, but we decided that was kind of boring compared to personal computing. A company came along about 5 years later, U.H.I, and did it. They didn't do the software piece right. That's why they failed, because we still think it was a good idea. But we didn't have anything even close to, hey, let's build a computer that we want to use, that we want to have as a tool for our own messing around and communication and creativity. That kind of got at the center of our thinking, even from the early days.
Bill Gates saved my business. He doesn't know it, but when I meet him and I shake his hand, I'll tell him the impact that he had on a young 19-year-old Evan Carmichael who wanted to quit on his company because he felt like he wasn't good enough to keep going. In my first business, I had a software company. It was biotech software. I felt wholly unprepared. I'm 19 years old. I don't know much about software. I suck at science. It was my worst subject growing up in school, and now I'm running a scientific software company. And in that first year, I had a giant range of emotions. At the beginning, you're excited. It's like, yeah, I get to do this thing. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. I turned down my dream job to be able to do this instead of flying around the world and making six figures and doing the investment banking that I thought I wanted and my friends wanted. Here I was saying, no, I'm going to do my own business. Yeah, let's go. And then pretty quickly you realize, oh my gosh, this is so much harder than I thought. Can any of you guys relate? Have you gone through that journey yourself? And I isolated myself. I felt bad talking to my friends about it, that I wasn't having success because I turned down the jobs that they wanted. And when they wanted to go hang out, I had to pick one thing per month that I could do because $25 for pizza and beer, was too much for me. So I had to pick one thing per month that I could do. And I would tell them that I was just living the entrepreneur life. I'm hustling, I'm grinding, but really I was isolated, alone, and had no self-belief or self-confidence because I was working every day and just not seeing any results. So where does Bill Gates step in? I still haven't met him yet, but on the worst day of my life, when I quit on my business partner, I reminded myself that I can't quit yet, that I would live in regret if I quit now, and that somebody else must have figured this out before. And the first person I thought of was Bill Gates, because at the time, Microsoft was the biggest software company in the world. I had a software company. Maybe I could learn from him. That was as simple as it got. It was out of a move of desperation, feeling like I tried everything else and nothing was working. So maybe I can learn something from Bill Gates. And I researched his story. Not how does Bill Gates make an extra $1 million, now, but how did he start 0 to 1? How did he do that? Because I wanted to do something similar. And I found that he did it through partnerships. So their big deal, Microsoft's big deal, came when they partnered with IBM. And IBM was the biggest computer manufacturer at the time. And so every IBM that was shipped had Microsoft software on it. And that was a deal that blew up Microsoft, turned them into a huge company. But before they made that deal with IBM, they were still a $7 million company. 7 million is nothing compared to what they became, but it was still 7 million more than what I had at the time. So like, how did they get to 7 million? How did they get to 1 million? How did that happen? Still through partnerships. They had software and they constantly partnered with people who had hardware. They had computers, and here's our software that you can run on your computer, from their very first deal with the MITS Altair. And so I thought, that's interesting. How can I apply that? How can I find people to partner with instead of having me go off and sell one customer at a time? How can I partner with somebody who can then introduce me to tons of customers? And my first deal was with a company out of the UK. And we signed an exclusive arrangement for the UK, and they paid an upfront fee of $13,500. And I was so scared and so nervous to even ask for that, because I'm making $300 a month. 13.5K is mind blowing. And I was nervous to send the email, like, you know what? I'm going to send it. We'll just see what happens. I'm going to trust in the Bill Gates partnership strategy. And they said yes, and we closed the deal. And more important than the money that came in was the hope. You're like, oh my gosh, momentum. You know how it feels when maybe you felt that a little bit in your business, just somebody believes in you, a little bit of traction, a little bit of hope, a little bit of momentum, that I can just breathe for the next month. Just sometimes that's all you need to give the energy to keep going. And so that was it for me. And then it gave me even more momentum and more hope, and I got more deals and more partnerships. And so as a result of that, anytime I didn't know what to do, I modeled success. I asked, hey, who has done this thing before, and how can I learn from them? I want to hopefully tell Bill Gates that story when I meet him, and let him know the impact that he's had on my life. If you feel stuck, then what can you do? If you feel stuck in a hole, if you have a dream that you want to chase down, that you feel like you don't have enough momentum, let me give you a couple strategies that I think can help. Number one is find a mentor, right? Model success. You don't have to know the person, right? This is where I think a lot of these mentor rules break down, because everybody will say, find a mentor, find a mentor, find a mentor. Okay, but I don't know anybody, and I don't know anybody who knows anybody, right? I went to my banker asking for advice because I thought banks were supposed to give entrepreneurs advice and help. It's like how little I knew in starting my company. So Bill Gates became my mentor, and he saved my business even though I have never met him. Look at who has done the thing that you want to do and go learn from them. There's clues, right? Success leaves clues. Find the people who have done that thing that inspire you, because it gives you the hope that it's possible for you too, and it gives you a specific strategy that you can apply. Seeing how Bill Gates started his first business, started Microsoft, gave me hope that I could do it too, but it also gave me a lesson to say, okay, go find partnerships. And that combination of the hope plus a strategy gave me the recipe to start to build my business. So go find mentors. It's why I make all these videos. There's so many channels now. There's so much content out there. If you love visual learning like I do, then there's a video every single day across multiple channels for you to go learn from. But if it's not my channel, you prefer books or podcasts, your heroes are out there sharing their wisdom. Use it. You don't have to go and sit down and have coffee with them to learn from them. I call them aspirational mentors. They're out there. Surround yourself with them. Learn from them, because they can help transport you from where you are today to where you want to be. Okay, so step number one, go find mentors. Step number two is get community. And honestly, this is the biggest mistake that I made in starting my first business. I had two business partners who were great. I don't know how I would have kept going without my two business partners. But we fought too. When you're not making money, you start to disagree over the direction of the company. And I didn't feel like I had anybody I could talk to about the business and what I should be doing. I had no community. My parents were always willing to listen, but I was, embarrassed to keep going to them. And I definitely didn't want to talk to my friends because I turned down the jobs that they wanted to do this business, and I isolated myself. That's really just fear and insecurity talking. I probably could have gone to them and they would have been super supportive and fine and helpful. And then listen, if they're not, dump them and get new friends. But I was too afraid to do it. And I see now in my movement makers, for example, it's my monthly membership, the value of people being connected to each other. So movement makers, when they join, they're learning from me, awesome, but they also get to connect with other people who are doing something similar, who are on their mission, their journey. So you feel like you're not going through this thing alone. You need to find community, whether it's movement makers or your friends or other online communities. Don't go through this alone. Get a community of people who are like-minded, who you can pour into, right? It's not a one-way street. You can pour into them, support them, encourage them. And when you feel like your cup is empty, other people will pour into you in a loving way, telling you that you can do it, giving you hope, giving you optimism, giving you strategies, giving you a hug to help you get back up on your feet so you can go chase down your mission. So number one is get some mentors. Number two is get some community. And then number three is create a calendar for consistency. One of the biggest problems that entrepreneurs have is you start and you stop and 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 you're motivated and high and energetic and amazing. I'm going to go do this thing. And then it doesn't work out, or then you lose the motivation, or you feel frustrated, or you get scared again, or that little inner critic starts taking over and you don't follow through on the action. It's important that you create a calendar for success. If it's not in your calendar, it's not going to happen. So what are the objectives that you have for your business, for your relationships, for your health, for your goals? Like, what's the life that you want? To get the success that you're after comes down to the habits that you're executing on. And the habits should be in your calendar. So you can't say you want to go build a successful business, or if I was going to take Bill Gates's partnership strategy, I need to put it in my calendar. I'm going to spend this amount of time every day or every week working on partnerships. I need to identify who my potential partners are. I need to reach out to those partners. I need to follow up with the partners, right? That is scheduled time in my calendar every week to make sure that I actually go off and accomplish it. Because you might feel motivated today and you might do some action today. Awesome. That's not enough. It's the consistency in the follow through where you really start to win and achieve your goals. You've got a big dream inside you. That's why you're here. Why are you watching these videos? You've got a dream. You want to be somewhere else. You want to be a better you. You want to contribute to others. You want to feel like you matter, like today matters, like what you're going to do and create is going to matter to people. You've got that dream inside you, not just for yourself, but for the impact that you want to create. But it doesn't happen until you actually start to create, to model the success, to get your community, and to create that calendar around the actions that you need to be doing, the habits daily. You do that, and we start to move from the land of dreams and hopes and wants and move into the land of achieving reality, impact, purpose. You've got that. You're capable. Now let's see you do it. Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Take control of your mind and your thoughts and focus on your breathing. Feel the power of you, the real you, controlling your breathing. The real you is always present right now. You are more powerful than you can ever begin to imagine, because you get to focus on the greatest gift ever. Now, your presence, where your attention is being drawn to now, no matter what's going on outside your mind. Feel the power of your breathing. There are astronomical numbers of things going on in one breath. That's how powerful you are. That's how powerful your determination is. So let's use that power. Let's use that third eye, that mind's eye that we all have. Let's use it right now. And let's see ourselves doing the best we can on all the stretches and exercises today in our gym period. Gym. G-Y-M. Grow your mind. And here we are in the gym of life. Growing our minds and growing our bodies. Taking control of what we truly are. Simply being. Human being. The most powerful energy thing in the universe. That's who you really are. So see yourself right now. See it in your mind. Because whatever you see in your mind, you can make real with your eyes open. Everything created with your eyes closed can be made real with your eyes open. Good morning, determination. Good to see everyone again. Here we are once again, working together on our minds and our bodies. When I say go, we're going to start jogging for a minute on the spot, or you can simply keep doing your best walk. It's up to you. But whatever you do, remember, do it to the best of your ability. Do it the way you were born to do it. Because the way you do one thing, the way you think one thing, is the way you'll do and think about everything. All right, here we go. Ready? And go. Feel the power of you right now. Growing your mind, growing your body by simply doing your best. Your best jog on the spot. Or if you're walking, your best walk ever. Feel the power and energy of our blood beginning to flow through different parts of our incredible bodies. Keep going, keep going. Use your determination. Use your greatest power. Almost there. Keep going. And stop. All right, back to our best walk. If you aren't already doing your best walk. But again, feel the power of you regaining control of your breathing. Focusing your attention on your breathing. Your breath can always bring you to your greatest gift. But now, right now, your presence. All right, everybody, let's do shoulder rolls. 10 forward. Here we go. Okay, good. And backwards. 10 backwards. All right, and arm circles forward. 10 forward. As big as you can. Really think about what you're doing. Once again, feel your body moving through space. As you work, big arm circles forward. And backwards. Again, 10 backwards. 1, 3, 4. All right, good job. Okay, and hands on our hips, bend our knees, and side stretch. 5 on each side. All right, excellent. Now twist our bodies. We'll do 10, 5 on each side. Keep your feet flat on the floor. All right, excellent. Let's do 5 push-ups. Try our best. Here we go. Good. Let's do 5 sit-ups. Here we go. And just stay. Just feeling the power of all of us working together, right? All right, and let's stand up and let's do lunges. Here we go. 3 on each side. Okay, good. And let's do 10-second plank. Put his knees off the ground. Hold it there for 10. Keep focusing on your breath. Okay, and stand up. Let's do 5 squats. Here we go. 5 best squats ever. All right, excellent, good. And let's reach for the sky or the ceiling wherever you are on your toes. Here we go. We're never going to get there. We're never going to get to that ceiling. But it's the process. It's the reaching. That's the pure joy. Happiness, joy is in the moment. Nobody can take that away from you. All right, and reach for your toes. Once again, reaching is what matters. It's okay if you don't touch your toes. And come on up, let's grab one leg and balance. Once again, bend that other knee if you have to. Imagine you've got roots growing underneath your feet and pushing or growing into the ground. See that in your mind's eye, where everything is created. All right, and switch, the other one. Excellent, and now let's hug our knee, here we go. Again, find that balance point. Everything you do is all about finding that balance. It's in a stretch, it's in an exercise, it's in a thought, a word. It's everything. All right, good work, and switch. We constantly strive to find our balance, our own unique balance. Among the balance of this universe, the balance of all of us together. All right, good. And let's sit down. And let's reach for our toes, straight knees. Hold it for 10. Okay, let's do a V shape with our legs and reach for the floor as far away from your body as you can. And reach for one side. Hold it there. 10 seconds again. And switch to the side. And feet together. And gently push your knees down with your elbows. Hold it there. Okay, one leg forward, one leg back. Keep your knee on the ground. Go as far back as you can without hurting yourself, of course. Hold it for 10. Feel that pull on the front of your leg. Front of your thigh. That's so fun. Okay, and switch. I love you, son. I love you, universe. I love you, everyone. Determination. Let's do our best in everything we do. Let's be present right now. Alrighty, and let's do a cobra stretch. Roll onto the floor and push the floor and look up at the ceiling or sky, wherever you are. Feel the awesome power of everything, of you, right here, right now, wherever you are. We are aligning together for the purpose of being our best. All right, and legs crossed again, back straight, eyes closed. Once again, feel that power of your breathing. That's you. That's the true, real, and great you taking control of your breath. Now use that same you, that real you, to be your best when that music goes on whatever exercise you choose today. We're going to have 2 songs playing here. I'm going to have 2 songs. I'm going to visualize myself doing as many sit-ups as I can for one song, and as many lunges, alternating legs as I can for the other song. I'll start off with sit-ups. How about you? What are you going to visualize right now within the space that you have to work with? Keeping in mind the most important thing, your safety. You know how to follow the rules. You know the rules. You're made of the rules of the universe. You're made of truth principles that are designed and there to keep you safe, healthy, and happy, and free, and peaceful. Same way you do your best on these exercises, When that music goes on, it's the same way you'll do everything. All right, here we go. Sit-ups for me. What's it gonna be for you? One of my favorite songs, One Love. Love you, Bob Marley. Whoever you are, love you all. We are one love. Here we go. Feel the joy of working on being your best right now. Feel your determination. Feel that energy. That true energy that makes us one and whole when we unite. Wherever you are, in your home, wherever you are, we can still do our best. We can still control the power of our determination to grow our minds and to grow our bodies. More importantly, to grow our energy that we were born with. That infinite intelligence is who we really are. All right, next is lunges for me. See how many I can do with this song. Here we go. What about you? Are you doing jumping jacks? Are you doing push-ups? Are you dancing? Are you freeing your spirit through your body movement in a safe way? Whatever you're doing, do it with determination. Here we go. Body might have limits, but our mind and our spirit doesn't. There are no limits. Work on our bodies, we get to work on our spirits, our energy, the greatest power that is in everything and anything. Feel the joy of this moment right now. Wherever you are, you can still unite through amazing technology created human beings by infinite intelligence. What makes you infinitely intelligent, no matter what. Don't let anything, anyone tell you otherwise. Whatever it takes, you have to know and be who you were born to be. Be your best. You're a born winner. Just by being here right now, doing what you're doing. Your energy will never. Demonstration of your greatest power is how you can focus on right now. No matter what's going on around you, you can still take control of your breathing. As tired as you might be getting. More proof. But you don't need proof. It's everywhere. I see it everywhere. I feel it everywhere. I feel your energy wherever you are. Thank you. Thank you for all you've done. Make me more. Feel the power of you determining to be grateful right now for this. And we end as we begin. Legs crossed, back straight, eyes closed. Breathing in through our nose and out through our mouth. Well, the truth is, there's no ending. There's no beginning. Today we started, beginning like we always do, with our eyes closed, imagining going into the future. Only you can do that. Only we can do that. It's all possible through the power of our mind and our thoughts. But we have to control that mind and those thoughts. Because even they are not who we really are. To control our minds, to master our minds, we have to simply be here, now, present. That's our super determination. Imagine all of us united with our thoughts, mind and body as one, all together, right now. That in itself is infinite intelligence. So as we end today, with our eyes closed, our back straight, our legs crossed, we know the truth. We're not really ending. It's never really over. We were all born to win. To be happy, peaceful, loving, kind, caring, mind wealthy, no matter what. That's the truth. The way we do that is now. Right now. That's why they call it the present, the presence. This is the greatest gift we have. Right now. I love
all so much. Have a great day, determination. Have a great week. Remember the truth. Right now is your greatest power. And now just keep doing that. Focus right now. I love you all. Have a great day, a great week, and a great life always.
It's a good thing I waited 33 years to bench press, because otherwise I might have done it wrong.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and like Andrew Huberman says,
for any of us, success in any endeavor is very closely related to how much focus we can bring to that endeavor.
so let's help you bring more focus to your endeavor with Andrew Huberman and my take on his top 10 rules for success.
I'm gonna go now. So thanks so much. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1, focus.
For any of us, success in any endeavor is very closely related to how much focus we can bring to that endeavor. And the reward system, you start to realize, is entirely internal. No one's coming along and cramming dopamine in your ear or dripping it in your brain. It's all internal. And this starts to bring us into the kind of like discussion around mindsets. Because so my colleague Carol Dweck, who popularized this theme, growth mindset, it's again a very misunderstood concept. It's the idea that we can change, so that's built into that. But the discovery of growth mindset was of these kids that actually really enjoyed doing problem sets that they knew they couldn't get right. But for them, they would get this like dopamine release from just focusing on the problem. They liked doing puzzles they couldn't get right. It sounds crazy, but inevitably those kids are very good at puzzles and very good at math and these kinds of things. So growth mindset is, I believe, if it's sort of a neuroscience lens on growth mindset, would be that the agitation and stress that you feel at the beginning of something and when you're trying to lean into it and you can't focus is just a recognized gate. You have to pass that through that gate to get to the focus component. And then if you can reward the effort process, you really start to feel joy and low levels of excitement in the effort process. That's that buffering of adrenaline. That's that feeling like, yes, I've got a lot of adrenaline in my system, but I'm on the right path. It feels good to walk up this hill, so to speak. And when you start to bring those neural circuits together, you really start to create a whole set of circuits that are designed to be exported to any behavior you want. So if it's writing a book, great. If it's podcasting, great. If it's building a business, great. If it's building a terrific relationship, great. Then the circuits that Mother Nature has designed are incredibly generic so that we could adapt to whatever it is that we need to do. And I think the misunderstanding around how these circuits work has led to this idea that there's some secret entry point, maybe marked flow on the door, and there's a trampoline up to that door, and you just open that door and you're gonna be in it.
Right.
And nothing could be further from the truth. And anyone who's done well in any career or athletic pursuit knows this, but unfortunately, there's a kind of obsession with the idea that it's all supposed to feel good. And it does feel good, but there's a whole staircase in which it feels kind of lousy.
Rule number 2, replace negative thoughts.
Okay, so if you're interested in generating some warm leads for your business, we're going to go into a workshop that's 10 minutes.
I'm never going to argue that we can subjectively control all of our experience, because there's some things that just genuinely suck, right? And it's important to register those not so great events or terrible events, because they can drive us also. We can be driven from a place of anger, frustration, and revenge, or we can be driven from a place of love, gratitude, and etc. I'm not here to judge which one is better or worse, but the nervous system doesn't distinguish between them. So if you're the kind of person that needs to kind of budge yourself into something, great. If you're the kind of person that wants to do things from more of a warm, fuzzy feeling, that's fine too. What I will say is this: the ability to tap into this dopamine reward system, which is activated anytime you're in pursuit of something that's outside the boundaries of your skin and literally the boundaries of your body, as well as the reward system, the serotonin oxytocin system, which is really about the things that are contained within your own body and immediate experience, things like gratitude and touch and comfort and things like that with loved ones. The ability to tap into both is crucial. Now, you said something really important, which was, negative thoughts. What to do? I don't believe that it's very easy to suppress negative thoughts. However, When you realize that thoughts can be deliberately introduced, you can start replacing negative thoughts with new types of thoughts. So you can always add something in. But when people start to realize that thoughts are very much like physical actions of reaching and picking up a glass of water, or taking a jog around the block, or typing an email perfectly. This is something I sometimes do because I struggle to do the perfect email. Not all my emails are perfect, but when I do one, I make sure that I complete it and I think, okay, it's possible. It's not because the email being perfect is so important. It's because I want to remind myself that my thoughts and my actions are essentially the same. The nervous system can organize thoughts. So for somebody that's struggling, we have these examples like, oh, they were really back on their heels, or they were so depleted, no money and all this stuff. What are they going to, we have so many examples like that, but in trying to make it actionable, it's really about saying, yep, that's all true. But I'm going to introduce a thought, which is, I made it through today. I made it through today, and that's actually worth celebrating at a micro level. So if you can give yourself dopamine rewards in small increments, right? You're not trying to celebrate that you made it through one day. Sometimes that's a huge feat, but most of the time, you just want to dose yourself with a little bit of that internal release of dopamine. You start rewarding incremental steps. And if there's anything that your listeners could take away from this whole thing about dopamine and reward schedules and being in movement, it's reward incremental steps, in particular, incremental steps that are about forward action. So maybe that's writing an email. Maybe that's that run around the block. Maybe that's something much grander for you. As you get better at things, right, the stairs get further and further away from one another because you've achieved more success. And so they tend to be, you have to take the rungs on the ladder further apart, so to speak. That's a time when you really need to implement not only the dopamine rewards, but also those serotonin and oxytocin rewards, et cetera. So to make it actionable, I would say, remember, don't spend so much time trying to suppress negative thoughts. If you need trauma therapy, pursue that with a professional. But if you have negative thoughts, just remember, I can also introduce positive thoughts. The same way I can control running around the block. Positive thoughts are the equivalent of forward physical action. And if you reward them internally, you buffer yourself against the quitting circuit, this norepinephrine circuit we were talking about before. You are building a stronger version of yourself completely between your own ears. And some people say, well, that's silly. It's like you're saying, oh, I'm going to jump up and down, reward myself for doing nothing. No, you're building the neural circuits that you can control self-reward. And in doing that, you can push through days and weeks of effort consistently. I don't mean necessarily all-nighters, but you can push and push and push.
Rule number 3, reward the progress.
Growth.
Hey, what's up? Are you currently searching how to improve your lifestyle?
Growth mindset, which is the academic discovery and laboratory discovery of my colleague Carol Dweck at Stanford, is the hallmark of growth mindset is really two things. One is I'm not where I want to be now, but I'm capable of getting there eventually. The other is to attach a sense of reward to the effort process itself. In fact,
don't reward the result, reward the effort.
That's right. And if you look at true high performers, people that are consistently good at what they do, they don't peak and go through the postpartum depression and crash and come back, and their life is a cycle of ups and downs, but really people who are on that upward trajectory consistently, those people attach dopamine to the effort process. And actually, one of her original studies on the discovery of growth mindset was these kids that loved doing math problems that they knew they couldn't get right. So it's like the people who love puzzles, but in this case, they knew they couldn't get it right, but they loved doing it. And incidentally or not so incidentally, these kids are fantastic at math when there is a right answer, because they feel some sense of reward from the effort process.
Yeah.
Now, the cool thing about dopamine is that it's very subjectively controlled. We can all learn to secrete dopamine in our brain in response to things that are in a purely subjective way.
Our interpretation.
But it has to be attached to reality. So, one should never confuse
what is real.
Right. So if you're thinking about the effort you're expending, so let's say somebody right now is financially back on their heels and they're setting up a new business, for instance, and it's hard. If they can take a few moments or minutes each day to reflect on the fact that the effort process is allowing them to climb out of their hole potentially, that it's giving them an opportunity, that it's somehow they are
on the right path, or if they're not in movement along that path, or at least oriented on the right path, they're not lying in bed all day.
They're
back
taking
on
a
their heels.
step
They're taking
forward.
a step. If they can reward that process internally, two things happen. First of all, the brain circuits that are associated with building subjective rewards and dopamine get stronger, so you get better at that process. And second, and most importantly, dopamine has an amazing ability to buffer adrenaline and buffer epinephrine. And what I mean by that is, there was a study that was published in the journal Cell, excellent journal, Cell Press Journal, a couple years ago, showing that with repeated bouts of effort, we use and we release more and more epinephrine. It's kind of adrenaline, but in the brain.
With more effort, we
Every
release
time
this.
you put in effort. So every time you make, for this, let's keep it, if I were to keep it in the business context, every time you write that email, every time you, let's say it's a person who's a craftsman or a craftswoman, every time you're working in the shop and doing that, every bit of effort, you're taking a little bit of money out of this epinephrine account. You're spending epinephrine. At some point, those levels of epinephrine get high enough that you feel like quitting. It feels exhausting. And this was done in a beautiful study, actually, where they control the visual environments and they have the subjects exert effort. And they can control the visual environment. So sometimes the effort of taking steps and moving forward, this is actually kind of pushing forward and kind of swimming motion, would give them the sensation that they were actually making progress. And other times it was an exercise in futility, where they would just keep the visual world stationary and they would expend effort and they didn't think they were going anywhere.
My gosh.
Epinephrine's climbing, and eventually they quit. Now, dopamine is able to push back on that epinephrine and give you, anyone, the feeling that you could continue, and maybe even the feeling that you want to continue. And you've seen this actually, like, football is a good example. Two teams play, say the Super Bowl. Both teams are max effort the entire time.
Yeah.
Max effort. The team that wins suddenly, in a moment, has the energy to jump all over the place, party for days. They can talk. I mean, they have
exhausted
energy.
right before
That's right.
then.
Well, that wasn't glycogen or stored energy of any kind, except it was neural energy. And what happened was, effort is this adrenaline. Eventually, people quit. They just quit. The dopamine is able to suppress that. And so then you're expending effort, but you're doing it from a place of feeling like you have energy for it.
Rule number 4, detach from external rewards.
There was a paper published that essentially was asking why any human or animal quits at any behavior. Now, certain behaviors, like I can't lift a car, unless it's a very small car. I can't lift a car. But if we're talking about running, or we're talking about long bouts of work, the question is, why do we quit? Like, what is that? And it turns out that every time we exert effort, a certain amount of noradrenaline in the brain is released. And there's a sort of a counter in the brainstem. And at some point, enough noradrenaline is released and it shuts down cognitive control, deliberate control over the motor circuitry, and we quit. That's it. But the thing that can restore those levels, or can sort of reset those levels lower and give us more gas, more mileage, is dopamine. And it makes perfect sense, because our species had to move against very challenging things in nature and in terms of in culture at every stage of our evolution, including now. 2020 is a good example of this. And when a good example would be, if you're really slogging it out and things are miserable, just think like the worst family vacation, everything's a disaster, or a very hard physical event, and someone cracks a joke, you almost immediately feel a sense of relief. You see this in the team that wins the Super Bowl. Both teams slogged it out. You have to believe they were both at max effort the entire game. Look at the team that wins. They have extra energy. They're jumping all over the place. So it can't be physical energy. It can't be glycogen related. It's not ketone related. It's nothing in the body in that sense. It's dopamine's ability to take that level of norepinephrine and smack it back down. And so we can learn this, right? I mean, I think this is where there's real power, like in your story, or the story that I'm familiar with from your book, like the ability to push through those pain points is something that we really can export to other aspects of life, because it's the same neurochemicals that are involved. So when you get to a particular location, or maybe I recall, a portion where you're feeling lousy, you're injured, or you feel like you're hurt, and you can reframe it mentally and think, I'm actually still on the ladder. I'm still holding on to a rung. I know at least that much. I'm still breathing. I know that much. And the lift that we get is not some psychological pump up. It's a neurochemical thing. It's dopamine suppressing norepinephrine and saying, you're on the right path. You can keep going. It's a permission to keep going. And we grant that permission to ourselves. No one grants that permission to us. I think one of the other kind of misconceptions that we want to dissolve is this idea that external rewards can actually propel us down long paths of success and high performance. They can't.
No, that's
internal
an unsustainable
rewards.
Fuel source.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend from the SEAL teams, and somebody asked us recently, we were given a talk, and somebody said, how can I make sure that I continue to self-reward and I'm not driven by these external rewards? How can I continue to have that drive? And his answer was very good. He said, give away all the external rewards. Now, not everyone can afford to do that.
It's just about you and you.
It's just you and you. And the more attached, there's a famous Stanford study done at Bing Nursery School, probably not far from where you were in the dormitory. There's a little nursery school in Escondido Village. And they did a study where they looked at kids that liked to playing during their recess. It's all recess in nursery school, but they're drawing. And they took the kids that really like to draw, and they started giving them little gold stars on their drawings. And then they like the gold stars for a kid, that's an extrinsic reward. And then they stopped doing that, and the kids stopped drawing. They associated the good feeling of doing it with the external rewards. We have to be very cautious about how much of our internal dopamine we attach to external rewards if we want to continue to grow and pursue and focus and work hard. If you just want to get to some place and cash in, then fine. But most people find themselves in a pretty miserable place because their dopamine was so attached to external rewards, they need more and more of that.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.